Yo, what up? It's Canadian Underdogs, my guest today.
Young Tribes.
Young D.
What's up, what's up? We in Vancouver, Groundville, Compound Studios where it's at. Favor for a favor, built together. So where you guys from?
We grew up in Northwest BC,
Mm-hmm.
small town called Kitimat. In particular, Kitimat Village.
Sick.
And
The Haza Nation, people of the snow. Where's your name come from? Like Young D, where does that come from?
my name, Young D. My household name growing up was D, right? Like even my mom calls me D. Right?
Oh.
So it's like, all my friends call me D. So by the time we started doing hip hop, I'm trying to find a name. Like I went through so many different names.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, what name can I stick with? And finally, light bulbs went off. I'm like, oh, why not just go with Young D? So it seemed pretty suitable.
And what about you?
Yeah, like mine comes from the word tribe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like tribe, nation, it's like a social division in traditional societies, but with connected through blood and with a leader called like a chief or whatever, right? So when I thought of the word young tribes, not just plural, but representing everyone, representing our people, not just one nation, but everyone, just being a voice for our people.
Sick. And what defines your group? And
So you want to start?
And what defines our group, we strive to be a voice for a nation that has been voiceless for generations, right?
Mhm.
Like us ourselves, like we grew up on the res, but we weren't raised traditional. Like it wasn't drilled into our heads because like every reservation nowadays is pretty modernized, right?
yeah, for sure.
And even though we weren't raised traditionally, like we still bring that cultural identity, even though we do modern contemporary music.
Yeah, and at the same time, we're the snotty nosed res kids now, but back in the day, we were Mene music when we were only 16 years old. He was 13 years old, 12 years old, whatever it was. And Mene in our language means brother, so like it's actually comes from the word Meneasu, and that means brother. We broke it down to Mene, and and now today it doesn't just represent brotherhood, but it represents sisterhood and togetherness, unity. It represents a whole,
Mm-hmm.
and we're not excluding anyone. You could be white, black, native, like anything, and that's us. That's what we're about.
Sick. And what does it mean to have an increasing indigenous voice in mainstream media and music for you guys?
Well, it gives us a representation of our voices to be like heard on a bigger level, and it gives us a platform to represent ourselves. And I'm talking about like you see guys like Jesus doing his thing.
Yeah.
You know Jesus, right? Yeah, we did a track with Jesus like a few months ago too.
Sick.
Yeah. So it gives guys like Jesus, Tribe Called Red, Buffy Sainte-Marie, Frank Juan. It gives those guys a platform to like represent us, and that's what we're trying to do as well. Just let our voices be heard.
Yeah, and the thing too, like when you think of First Nations, people still think like we're like one tone, like we're still frozen in time. You know what I mean? Like some people can just get naive and think like, oh, First Nations like bows and arrows and like horseback riding, headdresses and fucking teepees, and that's far from it. You know what I mean? Like it's just people think our culture is dead and historical when it's far from the truth.
Mm-hmm.
You give us this media platform and it shows just how many nations are still standing and still going strong despite what we went through,
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like our voices are still there and they're still here to be heard.
And that too, there's like similarities between each community, and that's what music like this and like a track called Red and any First Nations artist, it shows everybody gathering together to unify,
Yeah. Why does every song like gravitate to political like platform or topic?
The thing is like us as indigenous people is that everything that we do is a political act, like whether it's like straight up from existing, like from giving birth to making mistakes to succeeding to whatever it may be. That's like us as indigenous people, like no matter what we do, it's always going to be a political act, whether it's standing up for what we believe in. It doesn't really matter what it is. It's always going to be a political act whenever we do something like that. So that's why in our music we touch on stuff like let's say, resilience to cultural genocide, to colonial oppression, to just like standing up for what we believe in and just putting our voice out there, you know?
100%, for sure. You feel the same? Or?
Yeah, man, and it's tough too, man, because it's hard to separate real life from politics because in the end they kind of all tie together, right?
Mm-hmm. And what is your guys' ultimate goal as artists or as a group?
Just to get our message heard, really. You know, like we speak on certain topics that we feel like are just brushed aside way too much, and it happens way more often than people think. You know what I mean? Like given like the pipeline situation in Standing Rock, for example, they're like the pipeline was originally supposed to go through the town. They're like, oh no, it's too dangerous. Yeah, let's put it through native land instead.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
they won't mind. It's all good.
yeah,
Then we literally have to stand and fight and be like, no way.
yeah,
You know, like just stand for what we believe in. You know.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and like just like you said, like have our messages heard, like be able to have people, I would say, take us seriously, because like for an example, like I don't know about you guys, but like a lot of people look at like indigenous music or indigenous, especially hip hop. They're like, when we were 16, everyone's like, you guys do hip hop, really? Like yeah we do, and we're only getting better every day. Like and now we released this album and we finally took that for people to be like, whoa, damn, these guys are actually pretty good, and they see us live, like, oh yeah, like maybe I shouldn't have like counted them out just because of who they were, right?
Yeah,
And outside of that, like we want to do this for like a living too, you know, like we want to make money doing this kind of stuff too, so
for sure.
you can't count that out ever, really, right?
And the girls right there.
Yeah, you know, like we also want to teach like self-love too.
For sure.
Right? Like we've had generations from like boarding schools, residential schools, and you're just taught to hate themselves, right? So
Yeah.
we're really trying to branch out and teach them like it's more than okay to be who you are,
For sure.
you know, and
For
just
sure.
love
Yeah.
yourself.
That's the best thing.
Yeah, it's very important in life.
How do you what's the meaning behind your guys' group name?
Ah man, so like Snotty Nose Res Kids, like that's what we like referred to us as since we were like little kids, right? Like kids running around the reservation, dirt on our knees, snot on our nose, you know, dry snot on our nose, like it didn't matter. But like the way that people look at us now, and especially with our name, they try and like, whoa, well, we can't have you on our radio station. That's derogatory. Blah 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 blah, all that BS, you know.
Yeah.
And we look at them, we're like, okay, well, what we're trying to do is, I would say, combat a stereotype that put us in that negative light. To say we're not just here to do whatever to your needs. We're trying to reform that stereotype in a way where it's like, yeah, we were raised a little rough around the edges. We might be a little rough around the edges, but that's what makes us who we are. We were raised with an ocean in our front yard, rivers in our backyard, a forest in our backyard. We were running around our res, no freaking problem. You know, like we ran in packs with our groups and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what makes us who we are, and that's what makes us beautiful. You know, like that's what makes our and same thing goes with our music. Like we're just pushing it out for our people first of all. If anyone else wants to hear it outside of that, then we're cool with that.
Yeah.
But that's what we are, Snotty Nose Res Kids.
Sick,
Yeah.
sick. And why did you guys choose like the hip hop to be your avenue to bring out your message?
Well, you know, like hip hop originally started with like being a voice for the oppressed, right?
Yeah.
It started off like the state of New York, and like look how big it got. You
Yeah.
know, like worldwide, it's a culture phenomenon. You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so that just like those people that started the whole thing and gave us a voice to begin with. You know, we chose this because I myself, I live and breathe hip hop. Like I'm obsessed with it. You know, ever since my first album, like the Eminem Show, right? And
Yeah.
I've just been in love ever since.
I bet.
And just like the emotional depth that hip hop reaches out to a lot of people.
Yeah, and like you could literally, like with hip hop, it's like, yeah, it's the voice of the oppressed. It's like it's us being able to like talk back, take back, especially. But at the same time, in hip hop, there's no rules. No, you know, like there's no way of actually like, you don't have to be one thing. You can be whoever the hell you want, really, right?
Yeah.
You could say your message in any what way you want.
Exactly.
Like it doesn't matter the type of flow. Like you can say it in any way you want, and that's what I've always loved about hip hop. It wasn't just so like one dimensional.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I love about hip hop.
Sick. Well, that's it for now. If you guys have any last things you want to tell the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're sipping on Crazy Horse right here. My Minnie Clayton Charlie Boys and his family's business, Blake Energy Drinks. It's the way to go.
Yeah, and you can catch our album on. You can catch the digital copy off Bandcamp. It's self-titled Snotty Nose Res Kids at Snotty Nose Res Kids on Bandcamp. All right, yo, thanks for
Thank
having us,
you
man.
so much. Thank you guys for coming. We out. Peace.